Good morning, everyone. I'm a little late today. I gotta get out to the barn. I'm home alone. It's gonna be 70 degrees again here today, but it's totally quiet. I mean, there isn't a breeze or nothing, and there's supposed to be a storm coming through here, a windy storm. I guess we'll find out. So far, well, so far, so good. Well, so I went and checked out. I wonder if I mentioned that yesterday already. No, I don't think so. Maybe it did. Yeah. I can't remember now. Repeat myself here. Okay, let's just get going. I'm a little tired today. I was up until, I think almost midnight talking to people in a group. One has to take the time. Just try to keep teaching, right? Yes, that's what you do. People have some odd ideas out there, that's for sure. But, hey, Anywho, so Leviticus 16, the great day of expiation. Ooh. The next one will be the law of holiness. Oh, back to slaughtering and sacrifice. Something came to my mind, and it's in the divine principle what a role blood plays in all this, right? And I do, trying to understand God is with our own inadequate, right, kind of, especially when it comes to spiritual growth. We're just so inadequate, and blood just seems to be playing a big role, and most likely because lineage, it seems like for a lot of people is really important, and I get that, to a degree. That's the ideal, that in a family you have ancestors and descendants. Then if you look at our first ancestors, Adam and Eve, something definitely happened there, that where something changed, and suddenly, rather than the parent in heaven, God, being able to look upon his children with pride, something just didn't go right. So it's a constant thing to restore again, right? To take back that lineage and make it pure again. So does the blood all have to be spilled in that way? And that's why even for women who it's a natural thing to go through a monthly period, that becomes unclean as well, because it's blood that's involved. It's not necessarily the act of it, right? Yes. Yeah. Anyway, trying to understand that in the Old Testament, on how God is trying to figure out and how to have people understand what that actually means, these sacrifices, these offerings, right? Yes, and stick with a strict with strict rituals and all that. I'm assuming that's what it is. I said, is that why little boys had to go through what they went through? I don't know. Well, anyway, trying to understand it all. Some of it is interesting. Some of it, I'm going, okay. But is it needed? I guess. I don't know. All right, the great day of expiation. I have these thoughts and I just think about it, Then as time goes on, I read something again and again, or I come across suddenly someone has an epiphany about something, then you have to say, hey, wait a minute, I was wrong about that to begin with, right? Yes? Or, oh, I didn't have that quite right. Yeah? So one then, you edit. It's okay to edit. There's nothing wrong with doing that if it keeps on being on the side of goodness, right? On the side of growth and wellness for everyone, right? Yes? Okay. There. The great day of expiation. Yahweh spoke to Moses after the death of the two sons of Aaron, who died when offering unauthorized fire. Yahweh spoke to Moses and said, oh, didn't we already kind of have that somewhere? I seem to remember this almost word for word. Am I in the right place? Yeah, Leviticus 16. That was the next one. Tell Aaron your brother that he may not enter the sanctuary inside the curtain in front of the mercy seat on the ark whenever he chooses, in case he incurs death, for I appear in a cloud on the mercy seat. That sounds so familiar. This is how, déjà vu, this is how he must enter the sanctuary, with a young bull for a sacrifice for sin and a ram for a burnt offering. He will put on a tunic of consecrated linen, wear linen drawers on his body, a linen waistband round his waist, and a linen turban on his head. These are the sacred vestments he will put on after washing himself. From the community of Israelites, he will receive 2 he-goats for a sacrifice for sin and a ram for a burnt offering. Ooh, the parent has to take responsibility for the children's mistake. We just talked about lineage. Oh. After offering the bull as a sacrifice for his own sin and performing the rite of expiation for himself and his family, he will take the 2 he-goats and place them before Yahweh at the entrance to the tent of meeting. Aaron will then draw lots over the 2 goats, one lot to be for Yahweh and the other lot for Azazel. Azazel? Who is Azazel? Where's my pen? I'll check that out. Sometimes when I go and check this stuff out, I have to say, did I spell this right? And see if other people have studied this, come up with or had more information on certain things. I find often that there isn't. Or I'm not. I have to figure out things in a different way. I have to ask in a different way. I have to get into a different avenue to find out some information than it just referring to the Bible. And you got to go and find out. Okay, in history is there? But I find that there, as I've said that before, a lot of discrepancies people have, with each other when it comes to all that. Who's Azazel? The other lot for Azazel. Aaron will then take the goat on which the lot for Yahweh has fallen and offer it as a sacrifice for sin. But the goat on which the lot for Azazel has fallen will be placed alive before Yahweh, for the rite of expiation to be performed with it, and for it then to be sent to Azazel in the desert. Interesting. Having offered the bull as a sacrifice for his own sin, and performed the rite of expiation for himself and for his family, and slaughtered the bull as a sacrifice for sin, Aaron will then fill a censer with live coals from the altar before Yahweh. Take 2 handfuls of finely ground aromatic incense and bring this inside the curtain. He will then put the incense on the fire before Yahweh. so that the cloud of incense hides the mercy seat, which is on the testimony, and he does not incur death. Oh, interesting. The cloud is what? Ooh. Oh. Okay. Oh. I better not say what I want to say right now. He will then take some of the bull's blood and sprinkle it with his finger on the eastern side of the mercy seat. He will sprinkle some of the blood 7 times with his finger in front of the mercy seat. Here goes the blood again. As I said, is this a sign? Yeah, okay. He will then slaughter the goat for the sacrifice for the sin of the people and take its blood inside the curtain. And with this blood do as he did with the blood of the bull. Sprinkle it on the mercy seat and in front of it. Sin for the people, collective sin, is a real thing. This is how he must perform the rite of expiation for the sanctuary for the uncleanness of the Israelites, for their acts of rebellion and all their sins. It seems like we're going a little bit back in time here somehow. So it's all instructions. So somehow, when I read before, I'm already in the life of the Israelites, right? And kind of see, okay, that's what they're doing. Oh, I gotta go. So somehow, in my mind, I've already passed some time, but it looks like time has not passed yet. Unless they just kind of put together the chapters nilly-willy. Didn't matter when it came to that. It's of rebellion and all their sins. The golden calf. So what we're talking about here mainly. And this is what he must do for the tent of meeting which remains with them, surrounded by their uncleanness. No one must be inside the tent of meeting from the moment he enters to make expiation in the sanctuary until the time he comes out. So he's all by himself. When he has made expiation for himself, for his family, and for the whole community of Israel, he must come outside, go to the altar before Yahweh, and perform the rite of expiation for it. He will take some of the bull's blood and some of the goat's blood and pour it on the horns at the corners of the altar all around it, and sprinkle some of the blood on it 7 times with his finger, thus purifying it, there you go, and setting it apart from the uncleanness of the Israelites. That's the first time that they're talking about purifying, that blood is purifying. And then the reason why animals are being used is just because animals are under the principles of creation. They act on their instinct, this and that. There's no sin. Animals don't commit sins. Right? Neither do plants, right? So animals are being used for that, rather than people. Well, you could, if it's just about the blood, right? One could just prick one's finger, right? But, so the principles of creation. God had to use the principles of creation to try to purify us. That's from sin. That's interesting. Still wish there were other ways to do that, but at the time, again, uncleanness of the Israelites. Everybody was unclean in a way. Once expiation for the sanctuary, the tent of meeting, and the altar is complete, he will bring the goat which is still alive. Aaron will then lay both his hands on its head and offer it. Thought the dogs were back. Confess all the guilt of the Israelites, all their acts of rebellion, and all their sins. Having thus laid them on the goat's head, he will send it out into the desert under the charge of a man waiting ready, and the goat will bear all their guilt away into some desolate place. Oh. Oh, isn't that what Jesus did with the pigs too? Bear their guilt away? Huh. That's a new one on me here. Interesting. This is all restoring the behavior of the people. It's as if God had to teach the people how to live properly somehow, right? Yes? When he has sent the goat into the desert, Aaron will go back into the tent of meeting and take off the linen vestments which he wore to enter the sanctuary and leave them there. He will then wash his body inside the holy place, put on his vestments, and come outside to offer his own and the people's burnt offering. He will perform the rite of expiation for himself and for the people, and burn the fat of the sacrifice for sin on the altar. The man who led the goat away to Azazel will wash his clothes and body before entering the camp. The bull and the goat offered as a sacrifice for sin, the blood of which was taken into the sanctuary for the rite of expiation, must be taken outside the camp, where their skin, meat, and offal are to be burnt. The man who burns them will wash his clothes and body before entering the camp. This will be a perpetual law for you. Oh. On the 10th day of the 7th month, you will fast and refrain from work. Both citizen and resident alien. Resident alien. For this is the day on which the rite of expiation will be performed for you to purify you. To purify you before Yahweh from all your sins. It will be a sabbatical rest for you, and you will fast. This is a perpetual law. Oh. The rite of expiation will be performed by the priest who has been anointed and installed to officiate in succession to his father. He will put on the linen vestments, the sacred vestments, and perform the rite of expiation for the holy sanctuary, the tent of meeting, and the altar, and will then perform the rite of expiation for the priests and all the people of the community. This will be a perpetual law for you. Once a year, the rite of expiation will be made for the Israelites for all their sins. And as Yahweh ordered Moses, so it was done. That's the end of 16. So, interesting thing again. Before I started with this, I said about as you grow, as you spiritually grow, right? You stick with something good things, and you practice them. You get better at it, right? And you won't make the same mistakes, right? Yes. Or if that could be that, involuntarily, sometimes things happen that maybe are out of one's control. But, so once a year, right, this had to be done. And now I have to wonder, well, okay, I mean, I get it. That's great, but isn't it kind of enabling the people to say, well, next year again, at the same time, we'll be all released again from our sins. Right? And then the day after, so then you fast, you don't work, right? And then the day after that, it's okay, you can all start all over again. Right? Or did the people actually say, hey, no, we got to We got to get better and better. Our sin is way up here right now, especially after the golden calf and this and that, and followed certain ways, of, for example, the Egyptians, because they were there for so long that, according in God's eyes, no, that's not a good thing. I don't like you to do that. I don't want you to do that. Right? That's not how you're going to be living a fulfilled life, a happy life, a productive life, right? Yes, constructive life, yeah. And for me, God, Yahweh, not me, God, Yahweh, talking, to be a part of. Oh, the sun's coming out. I love that. Ooh, gardening time again, where He can be a part of things, be there, right? Yes. Anyway, but did the Israelites every year that passed again that day? Did the sins of the Israelites, did they become less and less, or did it stay up here? And after that day, oh, okay, all sins are gone. Oh, we're good, and then it just over the whole year. I'm just wondering. Is that again? So here with this example, God's so merciful and gracious, isn't He? Somehow He knows, it's going to take a long time. So understanding, right? Yes. Try again and again and again. And as time goes on, right? Yes, well, we all know at the end of the Old Testament, there's a wonderful thing that happened for the beginning of the New Testament. A new era, right? When Jesus was born. All the preparations for that took so long. There had to be at least a certain amount of people that had fulfilled some of the requirements for a child then to be born sinless. Well, anyway, that has to do with blood, I guess. But again, so here's the strict. I must assume that it's not just all written down to control the people, right? Yes. Someone says, hey, I got a good idea how we can do this, right? Yes. I must believe that a lot of this is really being given by God. Anyway, one just continues on reading and wonder. You can wonder. It's okay to wonder. It's okay to wonder. Just don't wander off with it. Got to stay centered. That's another thing too. Stay centered. What do I want to learn from this? What is it? A relationship with God. It's always about that. Yes. And one should be grateful to our forefathers as well. Anyone that lived before us, right? That tried. Thank you. Thank you, Spirit World. Thank you to the ones that were here before and really tried, right? To be good, do the right thing. Gave their lives for the right thing. And were able to set good foundations. Right? Yes? Well, yeah, they're good foundations. I'm a living example of that. And there's many people out there too. Yes. So, well, that's what I wanted to share this morning. Oh, I feel like this is a bit of a confusing one. I need to get to the barn. I was going to leave them in because of the weather forecast that I was told we're going to have. Ooh, a birdie on the... Oh, there's a nest on our... How did you build that so quick? There's a nest on our porch. Looks like a wren's gonna have babies there. Or there's a gourd hanging with nothing in it. I wonder. Anyway, it's cute to see the birds flying here on the porch and being so comfy. Huh? Yes, so cute. Right. Oh, but the sun's out. There's clouds. They're moving really fast today. I can't tell. There's some dark clouds. It looks like something's moving in, but right now the sun is shining. It's all confusing. Confusing out there too right now. What to do? Yeah, I'll see. Maybe I'll give it a little more time. Go out. I know I got to get out there. Well, that's what I wanted to share this morning. God's love and blessings always. May He protect you, and I will talk to you all another time.